Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Derick Johnson, US Army veteran, life coach, and trainer, and he has helped over 500 clients and 50 companies go from just surviving to thriving through his coaching modalities and marketing efforts. Welcome to the show, Derick.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
You are welcome. You are welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from you, not only in India, but a lot of people also globally, because this show is going right now on YouTube. Later on, the show will go on all the audio platforms and as well as blog. So a lot of people will get to listen to you, to see you, and also understand about what this discussion was on tech. So my first question to you, we'll be discussing about mastering mind and body from you. So first to understand from you, Derick, the audience will ask, why should we listen to Derick? What has he got, and what special stuff he has got to speak? What special experience he has got, so that we will learn anything from you. So to answer that question, help them understand what you help your clients, other companies about yourself.
For sure. That's a great question. So the first thing that I like to do, I help clients and individuals figure out what their patterns are that are not serving them. So it could be nutrition related. It could be a limiting belief that they got from family, from a teacher, from someone else. It could be their own negative thinking, but I just always try to make sure that we can pinpoint what pattern is not serving them, whether that is psychologically, physically, or something that they're consuming. And it could even be social media. Maybe they're just wasting too much time on all these apps and not being productive. But whatever it is, we first identify what that pattern is that is not helping them move forward. And then from there, we start to work on that and create a program so that way they can get rid of that thing and have more control. Because right now, a lot of people, they don't control their attention. Social media wants their attention. This marketing ad wants their attention. Their kids, their dog, their neighbor, everything and everyone wants their attention. So I like to make sure that they have control of their attention so they don't feel like they're being pulled in every direction, where they're like, I can even get my daily tasks done because I'm all over the place. So we try to get more laser focused, get rid of the things that are not helping them or serving them, so they feel like they have, they can breathe and they have the power back to focus and get things done.
Right, Derick. So you talk about, you help people break old patterns. What are these old patterns and how do you help them break it? Because old patterns, they get entrenched in your mind like old habits.
Oh, yeah.
And it is very difficult to change those habits. So it would be interesting for people to understand, even for me, if I can change any of my old habits and start something afresh. To help us understand, especially about this old pattern, so that, almost like a starting point, the first step to take, how one can, break some old patterns that they have developed over time.
For sure. That's a great question. So step one, I always like to focus on what can I get rid of or do less of that is not helping me. So it could be maybe that negative thinking. What is that negative thought? Maybe somebody wants to stop smoking cigarettes. Maybe somebody wants to stop drinking alcohol or eating late at night. Whatever their number one thing is, if they can push their pride and ego out of the way and say, if I do this less, or if I get rid of this, I will make more progress. And if everybody can be honest with themselves, that's always step one and the hardest. A lot of people are like, I don't really want to work on that. But deep down, they're like, if I just stop drinking or stop doing this or stopped hanging out with these negative people, I would feel way more power and focus. So step one, I like to first eliminate what is not helping us before we change the schedule, before we change the routine or add anything to it. First, get rid of some things.
Right, Derick. Now, let me understand from your own example, your early stages in life, you had seen a bit of a dark upbringing, in a home of alcoholism and rage, as you
Yes.
say. How did you deal with that situation yourself? Because this can be a situation for a lot of people today that
Yes.
might, very difficult for them to bear, but they don't have any way out, and they don't also know about a way out. Maybe your experience, your learning, your understanding of life, and how you made something out of your situation, went into the army, maybe something they will get their own ray of hope, ray of life for themselves. So that's why I'm asking this question for them.
For sure. Perfect. So the first thing that I did was no longer give people the reaction that they expect. So when I was 11 or 12, the first couple times this happened, I would get scared or I would cry or I would go to my room and I would hide, things like that. And then the more that it happened, I got tired of being bullied at home or bullied in school. And I said, I'm getting bullied at home, in school, in my personal life. And I was just sick and tired of people controlling me. So I said, you know what? I need to draw the line and stop giving people the reaction that they expect. So that would be a challenge for people. Is some family members, they know what to say to make you just angry. They know what to say to make you sad. They know what to say to get a reaction out of you. Whatever that normal reaction is, pause, breathe for a second and say, what do I normally give him? What do I normally give her? What can I do to respond different? And it's very hard at first, but every time that people do this with small scenarios, they feel their confidence and their power go up because they're like, wow, normally I get angry when my mom would say that. Normally I would get sad when this person says that. But if they can just learn to stay neutral instead of wasting energy, because sometimes we allow people to waste so much of our energy because we think about them all day long. We're angry for 3 days and it's just, we can't get anything done. And then if you think about it, we're like, wow, I'm giving him the power for three full days. I was not efficient. I gave him the power. He's in control of me. I gave her the power. So the question to people would be, who has power over you? Or maybe it's a scenario. Maybe it's not even people. Maybe it's the economy, business, whatever it is. But getting your power back and realizing that it's already inside of you. But sometimes we put the power in somebody else's hands and they control our attitude. So like this morning, somebody could cut you off in traffic and you're driving and you get angry for 1 minute. And the next thing you know, you're having lunch and you're like, why am I so angry today? And you've been angry for 6 hours straight just because of a 1 minute interaction in traffic. And your coworkers feel it, your family feels it, and they're like, whoa, what's wrong with you today? And all it was like a 1 minute scenario that happened this morning, but we hold that anger 6 hours or 2 days straight. So really zooming out to say, who is controlling my attitude and my mood? Is it me? Is it somebody else? Or is it the economy, the news, the media, or all this? So really taking that power back and reminding ourselves like, no, I have control of my reaction. If I want to be angry, yes, I can be angry for 5 or 10 minutes, but I will not allow myself to have him make me angry or sad or whatever it is for more than a couple minutes.
Right, right, Derek. It's a very sad thing when we learn that families can be detrimental to your growth, your thriving, and it is very difficult to even understand that. But
Oh, yeah.
from your own experience, Derek, why does it happen? Why does the family behave? Some families behave in a particular manner that they should not be, no, should not, or maybe that is construed by the person who is bearing that it is not very positive for him or her. Why does that happen? Why do people do that, especially to someone they say that they love, also love, and they are doing it for them, for them?
Yeah, so that's a good question. A lot of people are honestly just projecting whatever insecurity they have or something that they're not happy about, they will project that. So if they see your potential and they say, okay, he could be successful in business. None of us have ever started a business. So we're going to say negative things to him and say, oh, that's stupid. You should not start a business. You need to work for a corporation. Because they have zero experience with that thing, it could be business or whatever that thing is, they will always say negative things. All it is in their mind, they're like, he intimidates me because he is going his own path. I don't have any experience with business. He makes me uncomfortable, so I'm going to be aggressive to him. And it's always an internal thing that they're projecting onto you, projecting their insecurity, or you shine a light on them. Maybe they're lazy, maybe they're not consistent. And if you're laser focused, some people will get inspired by you. They're like, wow, he does so much for business, for his clients, for his family. Like, wow, he's doing everything. This is inspiring. Somebody else will see the same individual and say, oh, he thinks he's better than everyone. Same scenario, two different reactions, but it's because they're missing something. So a lot of family, they're insecure about something, or they never did the work on themselves from whatever trauma they had as a child, growing up, as a teenager. So they just continue the cycle. Grandma did this, dad does this, the son does this, anger, alcoholism, a lot of things, they just fall down the family tree. So it's up to that parent or us to change how things are going to go in the family tree. So like on both sides of my families, there's alcoholism, there's drug addiction. And so I made sure that with me, those things stop. So if I don't have kids yet, but if we do, that's not going to happen with our kids. Like, you're not going to be screaming at them drunk or things like that. So it's more so reminding ourselves like, hey, I know this feels bad that what's happening, but they're going through something right now or in the past, and they're just releasing. And sometimes we're the verbal punching bag or the physical punching bag. I don't wish that on anyone, but sometimes we are, because they just need to release, and they don't know how to release, where sometimes they're crying out for help, but they don't know how to communicate. So all they know how to do is be aggressive. But it always stems from an insecurity and something that they're lacking.
Right, right, Derek. So I want to understand, for people who are in not just family settings, but people who they think are their well-wishers, friends,
Yes.
even in workplaces, how do you determine, especially when you trust them and your defenses are down, how do you determine that what they are saying is actually uh, not what they mean, and they are, they are trying to instigate you or coax you into something which will not be good for you? How do you make that difference? It's like a child, you need to teach them about the ways of the world. It's almost
Yes.
like a child when you are within a very familiar, very cozy sort of a surrounding, but which is not very cozy at that point in time. How do you? What are the signs one should look out for, and then you look out for yourself in your own manner?
For sure. So the first thing that I like to look at is the historical data, which basically means your experience with him or her. So before we look at what they say or what they're doing right now, I would say, okay, we've worked together for 3 years. How many problems have we really had? 10, 1, maybe 1 a year, or are there like 50? Because sometimes we've had a lot of problems or weird energy with this person for a long time. So then if we're surprised by them lying, setting us up for failure, deleting our files in the program to make us look like we're not good at our work, whatever somebody does, the snake will always find a way. You can usually see it before it happens with that person that has done it a lot. But with other people, they may just be intimidated by you, that they're trying to sabotage your results or your reputation. So number 2 would be to look at their body language. Those type of people, they can't keep eye contact. I know we're on video right now, so we're not looking at each other's eyes, but in person is, you can always tell, because they look around a lot. They don't make eye contact. They won't shake your hand. They act really, really uncomfortable, and they act really spazzy, like they're like just all over the place.
Okay.
So if you look at them, 1, they could just be dehydrated and on a lot of caffeine. But 2, what's most common is they're planning something and they're very nervous. You can see it in their body language. They're never relaxed. They're never calm. They start to like, they're very aggressive, and they're usually planning something, and they don't realize that they're acting like that. But once you can see their body language, which is probably different than how they normally act, but anytime that they're planning something, their body language is very different and you can see it. So number 1 would be to look at the historical data, which is just your experience with them. Is it mainly positive? Is it mainly negative? Or do I have 6 different times where I had an issue with them? A lot of times, the worst people, you've had small issues and you just never communicated with them, or it's a surprise. But usually before the surprise, you can tell by their body language. They shift, they start to speak less, things, subtle changes. So like the sub communications that you could tell about them, or even their energy. Some people, you could just feel it. They come to the office, they get on the call, and you're like, all right, something, my conscience is telling me something. So also number 3 would be to listen to your conscience and the energy that you feel. So I feel like we're all gifted with the conscience, whether somebody wants to call that God's voice, the universe, whatever somebody believes in, but we can feel it sometimes. So just reminding ourselves of that. What is my experience with them? Number 2, what is their body language and how they're speaking or carrying themselves? And then 3, what is my conscience really telling me? Because some people, they always listen to their conscience and they feel like they have control. And others, they second guess it. They're like, is it true or are they good? But deep down, they can feel, they're like, something is weird here. So definitely listening to that.
Right, Derek. So, it's such a strange thing that you got to be careful with people you love, and they also say that they love you, but you got to be careful with, got to put your defenses strong. And at the same time, you talk about, that people depend on you. It's time to get serious. So who are these people who need me, and who are these people who don't need me? So tell me about the people who need me, for whom one must get serious, or should he, because nowadays it's all about, people say about self-care, take care of yourself, because you need yourself first. So how do I put all those things together in present day situation? Sometimes it can be very confusing between self-care and thinking about others.
For sure. So with the self-care, I'm a big component and focus on the morning routine. So whatever you do in your first hour, am I just scrolling social media? Am I drinking water, eating a healthy breakfast, spending time in nature? Just starting with the basics. So like this morning here, it's 7:53 right now. I ran to the gym, I came back, drank some water, and now my mind is open and I just feel good and I'm focused. If I didn't do that, my brain wouldn't be going as fast and it'd be a different thing. But that is my routine in the morning. So 1 would be to do something for the body, move the body. And then number 2 would be to do something for the mind. Some people, they pray. Some people meditate, some people visualize, but preparing your morning so you feel in control. Move the body and open the mind. Move the body and open the mind before we look at the emails, texts, calls. I have a bill due next week. I got this. The bank needs this. And you're just like, what is going to go on? So always owning that first 30 minutes to an hour so you feel like you have control, rather than being reactive to everything. Because on the flip side, we've all had a morning where we hit snooze 5 times, we lay in bed, we scroll for 30 minutes, and then we look at the time, we're like, oh shoot, I'm late, I got this, I got that. Anxiety goes up, anger goes up, we let it out in traffic, we let it out on video, like all day long, we just feel like, But if we just wake up a little bit earlier, depending on what somebody's routine is, have some you time, because before you can help other people, always focus on yourself first, and then you'll show up better for others. Your energy will be better. People will feel it, but also most importantly, you feel like you have the power of the day, rather than customers, clients, the economy, politics, and everything else just pulling us out of the routine.
Right. You talk about fitness quite a bit.
Yes.
How does one get started with fitness? That fitness can be seen also on the screen. You look very fit, and I'm sure just by looking at you can be quite inspirational for a lot of people, to focus on it, and how you can make good of yourself, like you made good of your life in spite of whatever the situation was. You were later awarded Soldier of the Year. So that is what, thinking well about your life leads you to. So how would you like to tell people about how should they look at fitness?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would first look at it for discipline building. Instead of thinking about the chest, big arms, strong muscle on the way, running kilometers, a marathon, First, start with who is version 10.0 of me? Who is version 10.0 of Kudanya? Who is version 10.0 of Michelle, of Jimmy? So I would first start with getting a sheet of paper, writing version 10.0, and then writing bullet points of the characteristics of who that is. How does he look? Where does he live? What is his career? What is he good at? Write all the characteristics. How is his morning? How is his marriage? How is his leadership skill? Like every little detail of that version 10.0. And then close your eyes and imagine that man or that woman and say, wow, they look this way. They feel this way. They have these skills. They have life experiences. They love to travel. They help their clients and customers. Really putting your mind there. And then coming back to the right now and saying, okay, what can I do right now that will make me feel that power? Let me start day one by going on a nice long walk in the sun or outside. Let me walk and then do that for 5 days and just keep building up. Always start small to build it up rather than saying, okay, today's September 7th. I'm going to work out 6 days in a row. I'm going to do this. By day 8, every part of your body is going to be so sore. A lot of people quit at that time because they're like, I can't even function. My arms hurt. My back hurts. So they did too much too early. So I always like to go gradually and then every week slowly add something to it, because by October, they could say, wow, I worked out 20 days this month. I haven't done that in years or ever. Confidence goes up, energy goes up. But if they look at it like that, they approach it better than opening up social media to see this man or woman with whatever physique and they start to compare. But first, be selfish for a moment and think about your version 10.0 of yourself, every characteristics and feature of that person, and then go back to the right now to start with a walk, a run, yoga, whatever somebody's interest is in, but start small. Do that 3 days in a row and just keep building. And last thing is to focus on the day that you're in. What can I do today to win the day? Eat something that's better, say no to the soda, just those small wins, those small decisions that are going to help you get towards version 10.0. So I always start with that because it's really hard for people to get into fitness if they don't have a clear vision of who they even want to be, because they're just like, I don't want to work out. And that's the first thought. They're like, I don't want to do this. But if they get excited about painting a vision of who they want to be, then they're like, wow, that feels good. That's different. I've never done this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My last question to you, Derick, is to understand in the times that we live in, at one point or the other in this hectic life, we feel that we are being wronged, and rightly, wrongly, whatever the situation, but that thing gets into our mind and it becomes difficult for it, almost like, when you feel like a victim, it creates a sort of a pain, a hurt in you, and then
Yes.
it can create those reverberations, negative reverberations, and that can be very dangerous in terms of anybody's growth or future mindset. In
Exactly.
terms of, you talk about, flipping pain into fuel, what would you like to tell, especially the younger generation, that whatever experiences that they have in life or are having at the moment, how not to take them in a negative manner? Some people do that and actually use it as a fuel to make it a very good, better future for themselves and for others. Help us understand that for them.
Yes, for sure. Great question. So I like to start with movies. The only reason people like to watch movies is because of a story, of a comeback story. Everybody loves to see the underdog coming back to win. He failed, he fell down, she fell down, they keep falling, they keep training, they keep going up. You get excited for the character. I start with that because that is your life as well. You are the main actor or the main actress, and you have to remind yourself that right now you're in your comeback story to the world, to yourself, to your family. So if you look at it in that perspective, you could say, okay, right now I'm stressed because of this and this. Okay, but this is going to be part of my journey. I need this to build my character. So everything goes back to perspective, because if I see it as here's a problem, why me, God? Why me, universe? Why is this always happening to me? It's very hard to be focused on your goals with that mentality. And we do feel it. So it's not easy. It's hard at first, But if we first say, life is happening for me, not to me. Life is happening for me, not to me. So if people enjoy movies like Marvel movies or things like that, they can see themselves as that superhero going through the pain to create a good outcome for the world or whoever they're trying to serve. But looking at it in a different perspective, rather than just problem, pain, stress, anxiety, look at those things and say, okay, these things are real. I'm not going to pretend that they don't exist, but what can I do with this? How can I help other people? Okay, I'm feeling this way right now. Let me turn on some good music and go for a run, or go to the gym and release it in the gym or on a run or in nature, or go to your car and just yell, just release it. If you need to cry for 5 minutes, cry. So sometimes people just have to remind themselves, I need to release before I explode on my coworker, wife, the stranger in the grocery store. Because a lot of people, you could see their body language. They're just holding so much in. And if they just release, they can feel freer again. So I would challenge people to release and do that more often, so they stop having all this energy in them, and then they see everything in a clear way. So step one, release it, spend time in nature, work out. And if you need to yell or scream, do it. If you need to cry, let it out. And then from there, really focus on what's happening and say, wow, that feels good. I haven't been this calm in a while. And then they start to think clear rather than just, I'm drowning in problems.
Right. There is much to learn from you, and getting also get inspired also from you, Derick. And so this is just one podcast. I'm sure a lot of people will get to learn a lot from you directly. So what's the best way for them to connect with you and learn more? And also those people who want to engage with you professionally, what's the best way to do that?
The best way would be to go to my website. It is fitwithderick.com, DERICK, fitwithderick.com. They'll see a lot of transformation videos and pictures of people's journeys. Some of them are just fitness. Some of them are with personal things like stopping drinking, coming back from a divorce, public speaking, but seeing the real journey of real people with real results. And on social media, it would be Fit with Derick 2, the number 2. So they could type that in on anything and I'll pop up. But my whole intent is to motivate people, make them think and be in their head where they're like, I need to get out of bed. I watched his video. He's going to be in my head. He called me out. So that's my whole intent, is to make people just push, make themselves proud so they can make their people proud as well.
On this positive note, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.